Alright, ebusian for mamda mu na masi emfamba ye chena yisu. Medo bibiasi ediba ye chena yisu. Na masel say notification button emu hia me ye pa obetene ne on. Say the updates bebia onso nsa be den e be ka no ahwe. Na bibia aye kama. Say the news emu hwam na ye de bemu. E brentima nyibre. Ni nkotie ensem kakra ekoso.
If their program were, until they came to Ghana, nobody had a system that made different hospitals talk. They know you want some competitors to take their job. Here you are saying that we've not completed your program. Your contract expired December 24. I will not talk about the extension with you. Give me the source code. And like what you said, when I give the source code, virtually the mystery about our program is in the hands of those who would go there. So this is what like you said. Let's discuss a transition. If we are exiting, we will give you everything, but then we would have known how to exit. But not when we've not discussed how we are transitioning. And then the minister says that, oh, the data of all Ghana, this is what they tell everybody, is sitting somewhere in India. Please, that is a total fabrication.
Okay.
Look, I was a minister. Send your reporters to go to Ministry of Health building, first floor. That's where all the data is, right? He is on the 7th floor.
Remote.
He's not even stepped there.
There's no cloud. It's not.
So what's happening is that the lightwave system is such that every hospital have data on their server at where the hospital. So Kofanochi have DS at their server. But Ministry of Health has a remote one which serves as backup. So Ministry of Health has for the whole of Ghana. Now, I'm not going to go into details, but if you're an IT person, you know that every company that is operating data systems on a national level, worst case, we have some form of offshore, like they call it.
Reserve, yes, or backup.
I don't want to speak downgrade the minister. But some people, when they hear that, oh, these people have offshore support, their assumption is that the data is at the offshore. But anyone with IT will tell you that big companies like Amazon and the rest sell spaces for companies who want to do their work to have backup.
And this is where I'm interested in some parts of the contract that was signed.
Yeah.
Was it agreed at the time that data captured under this light wave system will belong to the Republic of Ghana?
I'm happy you've asked this question because again, a lot of misrepresentation. Until we handed over power to NDC, the data of Lightwave has been that of Ghana. We own it.
Are you sure about
my brother?
The minister says we've requested for that.
And again, before I forget, one sad thing about this minister's behavior is that all his claims have been without any backup or evidence.
No, but you haven't provided us.
So, but he's the one alleging.
Yeah, but you have also made some claims here.
With all due respect,
right?
Me, I started law program, but because of pressure, and I stopped. Anyone who has done basic law will tell you that it is the one who comes to allege. He says that the company is foreign owned. It's a lie. He's not showing you the incorporation. In fact, the journalist, you guys did a good job. A journalist asked him, if it's a foreign company, why didn't you go to parliament? He said he didn't need parliamentary approval. It's because it's wholly Ghanaian incorporated. Number two, this claim that the data was owned by a foreign company is another falsehood. It's a fabrication. The data that Lightwave has is the property of Ghana. Lightwave only, because they installed the program, provides support services. And by the way, before I forget, the reason why now we're having disruptions is two things. Before I forget, number one, Lightwave, when they realized that the minister was not ready to give them any paperwork to show that they have some reason to be working with the state, they stopped their support service. So if any,
so you're telling us on record that indeed they did that?
No, you see, the minister says switch off.
Yeah, that's what he just told us.
But the education is that when you go to, let's say, Cape Coast City Hospital, they work. Their data, they are autonomous. Every hospital is autonomous. What it means that you have your data and you have your server, you work. It is when you think you are in trouble that you come to Lightwave for support.
Yes.
So when your data is off, there's no switch at Lightwave. It's like an expert.
But if Lightwave has access to the source code, the metadata and whatever it is that they have access to, they could remotely have some impact on the application.
The way the system works, we were there.
Yeah.
If Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, by the way, before I forget this, Lightwave is only able to access you remotely. So any facility, and apparently there were recent reports, some facilities that were, unfortunately, some facilities connived with those who want to take the job for Lightwave. And they started.
But you're saying all of these things without evidence as well.
No,
so you're also, throwing.
See, I'm giving you a background. I'm saying that some facilities, Lightwave couldn't access them because their local internet network was disconnected or disabled. Now, some of those facilities, because they disabled themselves, their systems, when they had problems, they couldn't get to Lightwave to support them. So I am saying on record that beyond the contract,
people had interest.
Yes, they were, and also,
you're not able to substantiate.
No. In addition to the interest, the point I want to make is that Lightwave. Listen, you are a minister. Look, I wouldn't have behaved this way. If you have a company that provides support service to you, and they are telling you that, look, we work for you, we have workers we pay, but since you came, listen this carefully. This minister, until the audit and he called them, has refused. They've been seeking audience. He's refused to meet them. That's number one. I'm telling you this on authority. He's refused to give them audience as a company that works with the ministry. Number two, this minister, apart from refusing audience with Lightwave, has refused to get into any form of agreement that will give them a basis to still provide support. And by the way, if no paperwork is done and your contract has expired and you continue to give support, I can just tell you that all that is a job gone waste. You don't have any ground to claim. So Lightwave legitimately did not provide support service, and that is what led to the disruptions. And the second one also is that because the Lightwave system was a very efficient system, guess what happened? Health insurance, when we were there, was going to procure a software to do their billing for them from the hospitals, so that they don't need to receive folders, hard copy, and go and do billing. It so happened that the Lightwave system can be configured so that you integrate health insurance claim system, so that Lightwave generate the claims for health insurance automatically. In addition, most of the hospitals bought software to do billing for them. Lightwave again integrated his system to banks for hospitals like Kolebu and the rest. So they didn't need to go anywhere. All these were integrations. And guess what? We got Lightwave to do this outside the contract. And some of these facilities and entities like NHIS were discussing with Lightwave how to pay for these services. Because of the stubbornness, I use that term, of the Ministry of Health, Lightwave said, okay, all these were outside the contract. I did it in go.
So the minister is fair when he says there's blackmail.
No,
because you're doing all of this, knowing that you hold the power. The technical power.
It's not about power. That's why you have to be efficient when you are a public official. If we had concluded the work with Lightwave, we have done all this 950. There is ownership, there will be transfer, sort of. Maybe the only thing will be service level agreement. Even that one, if we push out, we can take it away from there. But the point I'm making is that here you find yourself as a minister. You know that this is a company that provides you support services. You've not discussed even how to replace the support services.
He says in the interview that a 2-year extension, technical extension, was supposed to be granted to Lightwave.
It doesn't state any. Look, we gave extension twice, 2 years. What he said he offered Lightwave, he said he was offering them a service level agreement, just support service. Now, if he offered them a service level agreement, the rest of the 400 and whatever hospitals out of the contract with the remaining 23 million, are you saying that one will go to another person? You see, these were the things that the minister refused to speak to. The minister was not interested in they going the other mile to complete the work. And they, as a company, reasonably said that don't choose and pick. If you are interested in service level, which you will do, what about this? He goes like, I'm not going to do it. And look,
but that should be the prerogative of the minister, isn't it?
But with all due respect, the contract, and I'm happy you've reminded me, if you read the contract, paragraph clause 28.1 and 2 speaks about disputes. And says that when there is a dispute, listen carefully, please, between the two parties, that's government of Ghana and Lightwave, within 28 days, the two parties should try to solve it amicably. If they are unable to solve amicably, a third party must help with what? Mediation. My brother, why do you think they mention a third party? Is the natural rule, is the basic proof of justice. If two parties are contending, you can't have a situation where one of them is the one determining how it is solved. That's what this minister is doing, which is a very flawed orientation. And I will give my recommendation. Remind me, I have one recommendation I'll give here, how to solve this problem. You cannot be the one to be solving a problem when you are party to the dispute. You understand? Now, The clause 28.1 and 2 also says that if a mediator is unable to solve, then you resort to adjudication. That's litigation, either nationally or internationally. All the claims this minister is making, it's all within his bosom. No third party. In fact, before I forget, this minister has no transcript written by someone who both parties will agree that this is really what transpired when we met.
The legal argument here is that all of this will come to naught because there is no standing contract between the government of Ghana and Lightwave.
But there are natural consequences. I have a contract with you to give you 1,000 textbooks for your students. You have a school of 1,000 students. 1,000 costing 10,000 Ghana cedis. So each one is 10 Ghana cedis more or less. I've supplied 700 to you, right? And you've not paid me, you've paid, let's say, 8,000 less. You've not paid all. And now you are telling me that, look, apart from the book you gave me, normally when it gets done, you come to bind it. Let's talk about the binding. But we shouldn't talk about the rest because the contract has come to an end. As long as the full objective has not been satisfied, the two of us must have an agreement that even if not by force that you should supply, that will show an orderly termination. So as you speak, this minister, what he has failed to do as a minister, which is very serious, is to find a way to orderly, as if he wants to terminate, to orderly terminate the contract. And you know one serious consequence.
And he says it's because Lightwave keeps turning off and on the system.
But you know one serious consequence. I've told you that claim, even he has not shown evidence. One serious consequence is that the minister was asked, you have now gone for someone new. And guess what? This new person is not going to complete the rest of the 500. He is going to redo. Can you imagine? This is serious financial loss. This new company is coming to redo the 450 that Lightwave has done, so that they get them running the 450 whilst we have the rest of the 500. And guess what? The minister was asked, are you going to get all the data on the 25 million Ghanaians that Lightwave have? You know what he said? Because Lightwave gives data to NHIS, they are now going to NHIS. They don't have original data to reconstruct. Why are you going through this tedious, tiring, cumbersome, expensive road when you could have done an orderly termination which gives you all this data?
Okay, and while you point out this current minister and all the faults that you find with him, there are questions that you also have to answer because you're running the ministry. How come that this outstanding payment that we're talking about, you couldn't settle it as a government?
So you have a project that is to last, let's say, 3 years.
Because to be fair to Mintah Akandoh, he's taking over the contract. You are supposed to have settled.
Without respect, if you had paid all the 100 and the vendor had not finished, it would be a serious violation. But the vendor normally is like building it. The vendor does the work and then we produce certificates. And I've told you, I've explained to you that in some regions where facilities had to cooperate, there was serious resistance. Right. So it's not the timelines are not achieved only on the part or efficiency of the vendor, also on the part of the state. So both the vendor and the state more or less contributed or had reasons why it's extended. I think I have to make this point clear. I'm not saying that this government cannot say we are not interested anymore. But the point I'm making is that you have someone providing you service still. His paperwork has come to an end. He's telling you, I'm willing to continue, but at least give me some paperwork. Yes, so that when I continue to do this support service for you, there will be a basis to make claims or bring invoices. You are a minister that have said no. You have a company that has worked with government of Ghana for 8 years. They want audience with you. You said, I will not give you audience. The only time you gave the audience, I've audited you. They said, okay, boss, thank you for auditing us. Can we have the audit report so that we look at the claims and respond? He said, no, I'm giving it to Attorney General. Whilst waiting for AG's response, that's what he told them. You have not disclosed any AG's response. Today, I listened to the minister on Asepa. He says that I will show you to you in a flash. You are keeping everything to your chest. Meanwhile, you have a dispute with your party. I'm saying that a public official that knows his job and is competent, who is not hiding anything or has no premeditated thoughts, would confidently tell the vendor that you take a look at this damning report.
Okay. Would you prefer, and this is why I want to hear your recommendation, would you prefer that we wait on the Attorney General to make his pronouncement, or you feel there's a way out in the interim?
My brother, I think I have to quickly explain some things to you. The Attorney General is a family member of the the party, the government of Ghana. So if you look at the contract agreement that Lightweight had with Ghana, even when the Attorney General says something, it's still the two of them. In fact, his advice is more or less Akandoh's paperwork. Yes. His approach towards facing the dispute. But in all this, we're still not going to a third party. So if they decide to take the advice of the Attorney General to court, then they are following the stuff. The Lightweight will have the opportunity to respond. But guess what? Should you land in court, it means that the job technically shouldn't have been taken away from the vendor because you are still in the dispute resolution process. But before Ayini gave Akandoh the, how do we call it, the legal advice, he's already engaged a vendor. This is very serious. And you are the media. I'm throwing a challenge. Find out. I've told you that this Lightweight one went to PPA, it went to Ministry of Health. Who did Akandoh take this current vendor to give approval for the work they are doing? That's number one. Number two, this current vendor is a company with a name. Why is it, and this is very serious, that the minister uses the term Ghana Health Information Management Systems, creating a very deceptive impression that this is a state-owned entity like GIPS. The one you have that's the e-switch. Meanwhile, it's a private company that will generate invoices and be paid like Lightweight. Are
you doubting the competence of technicians and IT experts that you have at the Ministry of Health?
So I think your viewers must listen to this.
Are you doubting? You have doubts on that?
All this while, our technical people have been part of this project.
Yes.
There are many occasions when the state, through ministries and agencies, work with foreign parties. Yes. Look, even our roads, when you see a road contractor who is either local or foreign, they work with urban roads engineers. It doesn't mean that our engineers are not good. Please, have you understood? So the point I'm making is that this minister creates the impression that
it's a state incorporated system.
He creates the impression that Lightweight, that one is, in fact, he says it's a foreign owned, which I've defined.
State owned. And
he also said it's this one is state controlled.
Yes.
The Lightweight one was also controlled by us. In fact, the vendor was sending a monthly report and takes instructions all the time from the state. This minister has told Ghana that I was dealing with a private person. Now I've come to Ghana Health Information. Meanwhile, unfortunately, it's a private company. He's not bold enough to mention the name of the private company. I have respect for companies, so I will not mention any company. But I'm telling on authority that this minister is using a private company that will be paid. That company is doing the work of Lightweight. Yet he was not bold enough to say it is, let's say, the X company Health Information. He said the Ghana. Things, there are serious questions you have to ask against. And by the way, the minister tells us that he will spend, when he was asked what the cost to be, he says that he's going to spend half of what we were supposed to spend. Guess what? This Lightweight project was left with $23 million for the whole Ghana to be networked. This minister is telling us if it should be half of the 100, he wants to pay $50 million and start from ground zero. In fact, he says that
but would this entirely be ground zero? I'm asking that question because the Lightweight system is supposed to be a build, operate, and transfer. So if the contract expires, the infrastructure should be available to the
again, it comes to the dispute resolution. I don't want to say this minister is being, I don't want to talk about acting some way, because he has failed to look at the clauses provided by the contract to exit, if he want to exit properly. He finds himself in a tight corner where he's unable to ask for the data that Lightweight has. So when he was asked, guess his answer was that instead of saying that I will approach them and get it, he's saying that I will reconstruct using health insurance. Why this tedious road when you can go through a proper termination? And I'm saying that he is saying this company now is going to Kofanoche to go and start training people. We did this 8 years ago. Why do you spend money for Christ's sake and for the sake of Ghana? Why are you going to spend millions of dollars to start work from hospitals that Ghana has already paid for? Look, if you talk to 100 health workers in Ghana, doctors, surgeons, and it's not a perfect system. You might find 3 or 4 who complain. But the Lightweight system is what Kolebu of all hospitals is using the theater. This is what they've used to manage us smoothly. Why do you want to reinvent something which is working?
Have you provided full briefing to the minister and by extension that of Dr. Ajimamenu? Do you know whether there was a full briefing on this Lightweight saga, knowing that it has a far-reaching implication for the sector? Did you do that?
You see, the rules of natural justice, there are some very basic fundamental flaws of the minister's approach. If you're a journalist, whoever you are, immediately you see it, you know something is wrong. All this while his stock is on from one side.